are 1997. Says something about we went to Gatlinburg.
And on January the 11th, we had breakfast at Mallard's.
Oh,
Good old Mallard's.
yep, the geese.
Okay. So January the 19th, we went to Gatlinburg.
John.
Stayed at the Homestead House.
Okay.
Shopping and had dinner at the
Apple Barn.
Apple Barn. That was all in June.
Ruby the Rock. Is that the muscle guy? I don't know. I wouldn't think so back then.
Okay. Brad's birthday was the 20th, and we took him to the macaroni.
Where's the macaroni grill? Where's that at?
I don't know.
It's not here. We didn't have we have a macaroni type place now. What's the name of the place that Derek Brad worked for a little while?
Carrabba's?
Carrabba's. So that wasn't a macaroni grill. I don't know where the macaroni grill was.
Yeah.
That was a popular chain restaurant. I guess it closed. I don't know.
Okay, then we go to February, and it looks like, John, I've got that we went to Monsanto at the Sheraton.
Okay, that was about a 2 or 3 year thing that Bill Hips did. That was multi-state. It was a lot of people. 300 or 400 people had a big Monsanto meeting / party.
Okay, then on Valentine's Day, February the 14th, I fixed dinner for John and Keith.
Yeah.
And on the 15th, I went to Mom and Dad's.
Yeah.
Had dinner at Frisch's. Frisch's back in those
Big
days.
Boy,
Yeah.
good old hamburger. Had one in Louisville, but you had one down towards you too, Cincinnati way. Yeah.
February 22nd, John must have been at Vincennes for a fraternity party.
Oh, okay. Let me explain that one real quick. Okay, then we had there was a 2 or 3 year period where we did big fraternity parties at Vincennes, and I remember being there and taking a tour of the house. I took a video of the old house. We took a tour of the old house, went down in the pit, and I got great video, but I've lost it. I cannot find that video anywhere. But I had a great time. John Mitchell was there, Terry Rogan, the twin brothers. I remember dancing out and Executive Inn. The party was Executive Inn. Multiple years. I even got challenged on the fraternity thing because somebody didn't think I was a real fraternity person. But anyway, I remember Dad was in the next room over and he wasn't happy because of all the noise. And Shirley stayed in the room most of the time and I partied. Had a great time. Typical frat party.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I was 45 probably.
Let's see. Then in March, I've got that Dana and Angie were here. We had dinner at
Shirley's brother and his second wife. Yeah.
We had dinner at Penangelo's. I don't know what that was. And dinner at Luby's.
Luby's was the, cafeteria, which was real good at that time.
Looks like Jason came in on March the 15th. I had call all weekend. I did a lot back then. Brad was here on maybe the 22nd. I guess these guys are in college or off or doing something.
Yeah, not that time, yeah.
Lunch at the Mason Jar.
Oh, that was a hole in the wall that had really good home cooking, up in Hendersonville, yeah.
Then Brad was in college at Knoxville because he returned there. Apparently he was dating Kim back then. I got Steve here on March the 29th.
Hang on, we'll get to Steve here, but just a note on Kim. She was from West Tennessee, and her dad was kind of not a big shop per se, but made some money, and I can't remember what end, but Kim was, you know, kind of high end. Now, you skipped over Steve. Something about Steve.
I got Steve here on March the 29th.
It's
Betty
hard.
Jane in.
Okay. So Steve must have come in from Indonesia, which means Betty Jane and the whole family would have come in to visit with Steve. We did that. Our place was the family visiting house when back in the 90s and early 2000s, especially when Steve would come in. I can't remember, maybe it'll say in here somewhere which year Steve actually lived here for a couple of years. So
April the 3rd, we've got dinner at the grandstand with Mike, Steve, and Keith.
grandstand. Which one was that?
I don't remember.
Oh, I remember it. I just can't place it. Grandstand. All right.
And then on the 4th, I've got Knoxville and Pigeon Forge. So
Must have visited Brad or something over that way.
yeah, I was over in Knoxville, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
John to Fairfield Glade.
That was one of my group golf outings where I took the guys. What month we in here? April or what?
April.
Kind of strange. We should have been working, but we had at least once a year. Usually Jerry Burnett, our Sibigagi rep, would take us somewhere, and a lot of times it was Fairfield Glade. And we play golf like 3 times usually, and had you know, we had condos and parties and stuff, and just the guys. It was an all guy thing, but it was memorable for me.
Okay, now here on April 13th, we went to the Red Lobster, and I've got a note that I was only called back once on that weekend. Had a lot of call, but only had to go in once, so that was
Sure,
good.
they had a lot of work back then. The Red Lobster, just a note, is one of the few restaurants that never have changed. It's still there. It's a chain restaurant. It's same place as it's since we've been here and before us, really.
Okay, on April 15th, it looks like Mom and Dad went to Florida. I don't see anything about me going, though.
It's usually when you make those notes, you might have forgot to add you, but you went to Florida a lot with your mom and dad, and so did you and I. What month was this in again?
We're in April.
Yeah, it's unlikely that I went, but it's possible.
Had dinner at the Cherokee.
And that would have been back up here. It's a steakhouse on the lake. Old steakhouse. We used to ride the boat to.
Now I'm into May. I must have helped with the stroke screening at the hospital.
Yeah.
And,
Hospital always had you doing little extra community things.
and Loco Lupe's with Steve. So Steve was around.
That was a
during
local
this time.
Mexican restaurant. Yep, that we used to go to.
Cookers, dinner at Cookers.
Steve may have been here for his 2-year tour, maybe. I'm not sure. Cookers, I don't remember which one that was. Restaurant.
I got a note here. I realized that the carpet installers had stolen money.
Carpet installers. Oh, I kind of remember that. The back room, they took a thing of change or something. And yeah, and it, you know, probably was less than $100 worth, but we pretty well pinned it on them. It was kind of pretty low.
Brad was in Dyersburg with Kim, and then he came back to pick up the T-Bird for some reason.
Still had the Thunderbird in
back then.
97. Yeah.
Some notes about Kim again, so she was around then. We're into June.
You know, in 97, we would have getting close to started the Raffles Interiors thing at the flea markets, but that might have been the next year, 98. But I can remember Kim and her family stopping through as we were doing that. So 97, 98 maybe.
Houston's with Steve, so Steve was around.
Houston's was one of my favorite restaurants downtown. It was a small chain, I guess, kind of high end considered. I took my vice president, P.D. Foster, there, and he really enjoyed it. He'd been to some like Houston, in Houston before, but I just loved the place. It just had great food. Yeah.
I had call all the next weekend, and I worked until like 5 o'clock. It looks like one Friday night, so that wasn't too unusual. Doing a lot of call back then. Let's see. I must have made a trip up to Mom and Dad's the next weekend. We must have visited.
Would they have been in a condo then, or been in that house trailer type place?
No, what year?
In 97. Instead of building the house trailer, wouldn't they on the farm? I bet.
I'm not sure.
I bet they would be.
BJ and Sandy came in on June the 28th.
Steve must have been here.
But I was at Mom and Dad. I was at Mom and Dad's because we visited Charlie and George and had dinner at Red Lobster that weekend. Okay, I've got a note here. I was working with Sheila because it looks like she's starting vacation.
Shirley and Sheila. They were the two in the recovery room for years. Only two at start.
Brad went, this is July the 4th, and on July 4th that year, Brad went to Dale Hollow.
Probably with his dad.
John and Jason to Marion for Charity's wedding.
Oh, yeah, I remember Charity's wedding, yeah. Church in Marion. Yeah, had a good time. One of the few times we got together since we were Jason was a kid.
Okay, so you were gone, and because you got that you came back that weekend. John went to Memphis on July the 7th.
Yeah, just can't get over going to Memphis so much.
Mm-hmm.
We were having meetings over there. Charles McKenzie was the boss. I remember going to a couple of, I always went to nice restaurants after the meetings. Ruth Chris type places.
Okay. So Brad is in Knoxville, because I got a lot of Knoxville notes. July the 29th, I got the Crab House. Crab House and Big River.
Big River's downtown. It's been there for a long time. Crab House, that would be, isn't that where we took Jim Brennan one time, the Crab House? Is that the Crab House? Right,
I don't know.
right around the corner from Big River, if I'm thinking of the right place. It's been there a long time also. Good stuff.
Okay.
Downtown.
Got a note here, August the 8th, that Kim's car was broken into. Must have been over at Knoxville. A lot of Knoxville stuff. On August 10th, I got breakfast at Mallard's and John to Sioux City.
God, I can't imagine going to Sioux City maybe more than once in this period of time.
The next Wednesday, you went to Memphis. John was traveling a lot.
Yeah, Memphis.
What's this mean? Black Thursday for John? Something happened?
I don't know. Black Thursday. I have no idea. Oh, unless, I went to Memphis one time, and that's when I actually got demoted from being manager to basically, they gave me the location to manage for a little while, and I didn't really want to do it. And I went back to sales and started doing TVA and all that stuff. But Shirley probably wrote it down as that, Black Thursday for John. And then, as I went through this process of being demoted, I was pretty angry and demoralized. And I remember looking for other jobs and stuff. And a couple jobs I entertained. One was insurance, which is ridiculous. I went out on an insurance call, not for me. And the other one was working at a seed place in Nashville. That was just the pits of a place. I don't